Good morning, everyone. Oh my God. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, great. Thanks. Uh, Welcome to Nizamabad. So there's a small change in the schedule. The welcome note is going to happen a little later. But Manish, our CEO, is very, very particular about starting on time. So without the minister, we are starting on time. Thanks to Manish.
Check.
Okay. Uh, so at the foundation, we've had fantastic results of using technology, the scale of our impact, and hence is the uh, theme of this development dialogue. Uh, we'll have uh, uh, we'll later in the panel we'll talk about how did the foundation use technology to increase impact. Right now, I have fantastic panelists, three of them from very different backgrounds, and all of them using technology to increase impact, to impact the last mile. So first in the panel is Sudha. Let's welcome Sudha. Yeah. The Nudge Foundation. Their mission is to nudge top talent in the country to solve the biggest problems in the country. Their big focus is to alleviate poverty in their lifetime by focusing on livelihood. Sudha is an MBA from IIM Lucknow. Pleasure to have you here, Sudha. Please. Yeah. So my next panelist is a big corporate guy, Anjani. Anjani is the Chief Digital Officer of HDFC Bank. We all know how India is progressing with technology, especially in the financial services sector. We will learn how HDFC Bank and India's advances in financial services are really taking services to the poor and the needy. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And Anjani is he's a graduate from IIT Kharagpur and from IIM Calcutta. And my last panelist is Raja Gayam. He's the entrepreneur in the panel. He's the founder of Bility. Bility is the world's largest, there are pictures here. They're setting up the world's largest three-wheeler electric auto manufacturing in Telangana. He's from IIT Hyderabad and has really done a fantastic work. His autos, you can all across the world. They sell in 15, sorry? Okay. So he's saying, don't forget the T-Hub link. They're incubated in T-Hub, one of the very, very successful startups from our own very T-Hub. Welcome, Raja. Thanks. Okay. So to start with, wanted to know like how you're using technology for impact in your respective roles and organizations. Should we start with Sudha? Yeah.
Thank you, Funi. Thank you. Um, we started out with a vision to take technology to solve problems of basic human needs, not just lucrative problems, when we started the nonprofit incubator back in 2017. The kinds of innovations that we are starting to see today, reaching India's most underserved, poorest communities, is simply mind-blowing, right? No different from cutting-edge tech in any other sector. To give a few examples, a lot of what we struggle with as a country today is access to rights that have been given to its citizens constitutionally, and one of those is the Forest Rights Act that gives particularly vulnerable tribal groups access to forests for their own livelihoods. In this space today, we have cutting-edge technology using geospatial satellite maps, using cadastral maps that kind of are what we use to find our navigation through cities and using Google Maps or whatever. But that technology today is helping farmers get their rights to use the non-timber producer forests for their own livelihood needs. We have startups working to monetize voice, capturing voices again of these particularly vulnerable tribal groups for AI, and that becomes a revenue stream for people with education levels of even fourth grades minus. They own the royalty to their voice, and that gets monetized to be sold, by leading tech giants across the world. Now, to do this, you need innovators. Right? This technology exists. It serves every other segment. But to take it to the bottom of the pyramid requires innovators. It requires purpose-seeking capital, a continuum of capital all the way from very early stage seed capital to scale-up capital, and an ecosystem that will ensure that these innovations get scaled within public systems, that governments are able to adopt these, and that's kind of the fascinating times that we live in, and we're excited to be part of it.
This is very good. So what you're saying is uh, how technology is used to protect tribal rights for forests. Yeah, I think it's very nice to hear that. Yeah, Anjani, over to you.
For us, in banking, technology has become very, very important. Today, we have reached a level where any citizen of this country can open a savings account, take a personal loan, or take a credit card, make payments digitally, standing anywhere in this country. All that person needs is a mobile phone with a connectivity. As long as that is available, the person can be financially included. And I'll just take a couple of examples. Imagine that you are in a rural part of this country with a mobile phone, and you are an individual person. You want to open an account, you just go to an app, click on it. It asks you for some details like your Aadhaar number, PAN card, etc. And it reaches a video KYC position from where a bank officer appears on the phone, does a KYC for you, and opens a full KYC account on your phone, which is ready to use instantly.
Nice.
Likewise, personal loan can be given. You can call the contact center and speak in vernacular and get to know what your balance is. You no more have to go only to a website of a bank. You can just open your WhatsApp and you are able to do full banking on WhatsApp also in your vernacular language. So technology is actually extending the reach of banking beyond banks. So it just goes beyond the brick and mortar today.
Nice, nice. Yeah, thanks, Anjani. We are all beneficiaries of that. It doesn't even appear as a strange thing to open a bank account without even going to a bank in India any longer, which is like a miracle probably in other countries. We've come really so far so quickly in India, and I think banks have really become tech banks, have transformed themselves to tech-enabled banks in no time. Thank you. Yeah. Raja, so you are at cutting edge technology, the Buzz EV, right? And you are really a pioneer in that. So what is the difference? What is the difference that EV has made to a common man?
Hello. Thanks for the intro. So I'm happy to be here, and Nizamabad has been very kind to me. This is my second experience of Kakatiya Sandbox. So thanks for the opportunity. So in terms of what we do, I think tech plays a key role in terms of not just manufacturing of the vehicle, the technologies like lithium-ion batteries and swappable batteries that go into the vehicle. But at the core of it, the customer requirements as well as solving people problems are at the core of this, what we do. And when it comes to really having an impact, so I'll give you one or two examples of where we operate and how it has been impactful to some of the common people. So one of the areas where we are primarily present is in the last mile delivery space, wherein companies like Amazon, Big Basket, IKEA, and various other players use our vehicles for last mile delivery. Prior to our vehicles, they were using either four-wheelers or two-wheelers, and most of the two-wheeler drivers, you would have seen them carrying huge amounts of load on their back. It's a very painful process, and by doing that, they get into health issues, and they do not have a lot of time for their family because they are always under the pressure to deliver certain number of goods. So there we've been extremely instrumental in converting most of the bikers towards a three-wheeler, which is much more protected from the sun, rain, and various other elements. Not only that, it can carry a lot more volume. So that means instead of doing multiple dead trips to and from the hub, picking up packages on your back, you can carry all the packages at the same time, deliver in a timely manner, and then come back. So that has been huge in terms of the health, the take-home salary that they are able to take, as well as improvement in terms of their livelihood. The second area where we have seen a lot of impact is most of the small businesses, whether in India or whether in Europe or US, where we currently export our products, they have been severely affected by COVID, and most of them had to shut down their shops. So these are small coffee shops or refrigeration units where they have groceries and all. So what we have is a mobile unit wherein your entire coffee equipment or the refrigeration equipment is powered from the vehicle itself. So you do not have any requirement for a physical shop right now. You can have a mobile shop that can be taken to various locations. It can actually come into this conference room and start serving coffee or beverage drinks to others. So that's the kind of impact that we have seen with small businesses. Doesn't end there. So even with large corporates, so one of the main issues for any of the corporates in the last mile delivery space is the attrition rate. So a person only works for about 2 or 3 months at a particular firm. They'll be lucky if they work for 2 or 3 months. The main reason for that is the delivery boys are always under constant pressure, and that's because they are expected to deliver certain number of products. And a bike is not really built for that. So using a three-wheeler, they are able to reduce the attrition rate from their delivery people. So that's for the large corporates, and of course they are able to reduce their CO2 emissions, which everyone knows right now.
Nice. Thanks, Raja. And it is a big lever to increase the scale of impact. Sudha, you briefly touched upon the point saying that yes, but technology is expensive. How do we get, how are you seeing, how to fund the people in the social sector who are trying to use technology to increase the scale of impact? Could you give some insights on that?
So I think there's very large consensus in the fact that the use of technology can amplify the value on unit investment in any field, right? If you currently have government services in education or health, what the country is able to spend today is somewhere between 1.5% to 2% of GDP on educating its youth. That finite amount of funding, which is very small compared to most developing countries, which are in the 5 to 6%, developed countries spend upwards of 8% on education. India only has less than 2% of GDP to spend on education. That money can go much farther with the use of technology, right? So there's no dispute there. But how much capital is available for something as important as education in the innovation stages, right? If you are to bring to life technology that will accelerate learning in classrooms, improve learning levels, build capacity of children to be grade appropriate, there's very little. There's very little risk capital for innovation, even though there is huge OpEx for delivery once something is proven. So I think what we need to put into place is a system that offers this continuum of funding all the way from very early stage. Make it possible for innovators in large numbers to start looking at base of pyramid problems, and from among them start betting bigger on the better ideas, the high potential ideas, unlock funding for growth stages, and eventually leverage the scale-up capital that government has to make this become real for the millions of children across the country. Like in this example of education, same as, right, whether it is affordable public health, whether it's livelihoods, whether it's improving access to credit, access to markets for silk farmers in the Northeast, or freshwater fisheries in, say, inland Telangana or coastal Telangana. This is a massive need to bring India into the 21st century as, a global player that has equitable, inclusive development, very different from how the rest of the world has developed.
Nice.
And that's what we need.
Sudha, you run an incubator for the impact sector. So a lot of new talent probably comes to you with great ideas to make that impact. And they all need seed capital to start with, right? How are you funding that? Do you give them some money? And if yes, how much money is it? And where do you get that money from? Are you like, do you have a fund? Yeah.
Sure. So we've had the very good fortune of working with 100 plus tech nonprofit startups since we started back in 2017. And all of this has been funded through a mix of very progressive CSR donors. So corporate India is the funder of the work. Our earliest funders were Emphasis and Cisco, and since then we've had up to 10 corporates that have helped us run these programs. For very early stage ideas, we run an incubator program with an innovation grant of 15 lakhs. As ideas get proven and betting on the most high potential entrepreneurs, we're able to give out grants up to 2 crores in our accelerator program.
Wow.
This is the stage at which it has grown beyond a program. It has taken the shape of an organization with a strong board and governance, with a strong CXO team beyond the founder, and have developed a theory of scale beyond just a theory of change. And this is also the point where we're able to start connecting them to state governments, where government is the agent of change, or through other collaborators in the private sector, and unlock commercial capital for their ideas if the market-based approach is what they have chosen to take.
Fantastic. That's another good intervention from the government. So government has actually said that CSR money could be used to fund innovation. So I'm glad you're using it to actually fund your innovators in the sector. Yeah, moving on to Anjani. Anjani, let's say a startup goes to Sudha, takes that 2 crores and really showcases, proves that their idea is making an impact. Now they have to scale it up, right? How does the banking sector, how can it help them to scale the impact? Like some of the examples on using alternate data, as long as you have that, if you have any examples of where you actually came in and something that was not fundable earlier has become fundable and hence has had a massive impact. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good question. A lot of underwriting in financial space has been happening based on credit rating information, which is not available for a lot of people who are starting up. So over there, alternate data comes in very handy. And I'll just take 2 examples. In Gujarat, there are milk societies where farmers go and carry milk and pour every day. Now, if those guys want to let's say, borrow to invest in livestock. They want to buy a couple of cattles. It ranges from 50,000 to 2.5 lakh to 3 lakh. We don't have any CIBIL data or Experian data to underwrite. So we take the data of milk pouring, which is happening in that society. If that data is available, it is enough for us to give a visibility into the cash flow of that particular farmer. And we are able to underwrite. So we have been underwriting a lot of loans like that in the recent past. Just extending the same thing is also, there is a small shopkeeper, let's say in Nizamabad, who needs working capital. Now, as long as the cash flow information of the shopkeeper is available, we are able to do underwriting. And in a big way, Oaken is trying to do the same, which is going to open up a huge market for people who do not have credit information to begin with, but they can generate and build that over a period of time. So these are credit builder products for future.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Actually, at the foundation, we are seeing it ourselves. You probably know about the Farm Pond program, right? It costs about 1 lakh to dig a pond, right? And that's a huge capex. And now the foundation has embarked on a journey to make 1 lakh farm ponds, right? And I can relate it so well. Now for that scale, we need to get institutional money, right? And you can't fund, if somebody has not done the experiment to make it sustainable, to get you the data which gives you the confidence that you could fund it. Right? Foundations really worked over the last 10 years to put that thing in place. And now HDFC Bank has come forward to fund that. And that's massive scale. 100,000 farm ponds across the country is a massive scale. That would not have happened otherwise. Yeah.
No, absolutely. This has to change. India is now the most populous nation in the world. It will have more entrepreneurs than salaried people in this country.
Nice.
And entrepreneurs will not start with a credit rating information. They will have to take risk. And if banks and financial institutions don't partner in that, then we'll be left behind. So we have to get into alternate data for underwriting.
Nice, nice, thanks. No, okay. So from a college grad in a first startup to setting up the world's largest EV manufacturing facility, right? How did, I mean, we hear all the stories like how government CSR program has helped Sudha in fostering innovators in the impact sector, and we've heard about how the financial services innovations have helped. So wanted to know, like, what has helped you in this journey from the government side or from the technology ecosystem that the government is pursuing here? Like, what is like made you the right? I mean, you're exporting the three-wheelers to about 15 countries now. All that is like amazing.
So basically, initially we were mostly in a shell, wherein we used to work among ourselves and then think whether our product is good, our product is not good. What has been extremely helpful is in about 2014-15 timeframe, T-Hub was recently formed, and I, happening to be from IIIT, I had access to T-Hub. So that has been instrumental in putting us forward to the world, wherein leaders across the globe used to come and we used to present to some of the most biggest decision makers in the world. And one of them happens to be Travis Kalanick from Uber.
Okay.
So they were our first customers. We used to produce electric bikes. So that kind of exposure wouldn't have been possible for us if we were simply working on our own. So it's that ecosystem that the government has built, as well as people like you have been instrumental in building, not just in Hyderabad, in Bangalore and various locations across the board. That's extremely important for someone in coming up with innovative products. So that has been extremely useful for us. If your first customer happens to be Uber, then that's your pitch for the rest of your customers. So they used our electric bikes in Singapore, Hong Kong, and San Francisco. This was way back in 2016 timeframe when we used to produce electric bikes. Then we had access to other decision makers and various other policy decision makers. So that kind of exposure gives you the confidence that your product has capability that someone from Uber would come and take a look at it, use it, and then be satisfied with it. So that gives you a lot of perspective in terms of where all you can have access to your products. So if someone told me 2 years ago you would be having three-wheelers running in New York City or London or Berlin, I would be laughing at them. But the reality was I went to a conference in London, and I was like, who would look at a three-wheeler? So that was the mindset. I was the star of the show at that point of time.
Oh my, nice.
So the key there was understanding the global trends that were happening. So one of the global trends that was happening in the last mile space was companies like Amazon, which used to have one large hub in a city, and then they used to deliver something similar, deliver using a Tata Ace. They were all shifting to having 15 to 20 smaller micro hubs which are spread throughout the city. This is to enable same-day delivery, 2-hour delivery, or 3-hour delivery kind of setup. So in that kind of setup, the three-wheeler form factor is the perfect form factor for last mile delivery. And given that our vehicles have swappable batteries that can be charged from a regular 110-volt socket, so it was easy for someone in New York City having a small hub of 1,500 to 2,000 square feet to deploy our vehicles, not worry about charging, because they can simply remove the battery, put it in their warehouse from a regular socket, and then exchange the battery pack with a fully charged battery in less than 2 minutes. So that's the kind of technology that we have built in India. And I think we would have only been able to build that technology in India. The reason being, our first customer in the three-wheeler space was Big Basket. And when we provided our vehicles, we told them how to safely operate the battery pack.
Okay.
And none of the customers follow any of your instructions. So they throw the battery packs around, they stack one battery on top of each other, they leave the battery packs in the rain. So these are misuse case scenarios we didn't plan when we are building the product. You always plan for use case scenarios. So that was an important learning experience where we perfected the battery packs for misuse case scenarios. No matter how badly you treat the battery pack, they'll still be safe, unlike Ola or Tata Motors or BYD buses which are catching fire. So that has been key enabler for us in terms of deploying our vehicles in various countries across the globe and not having to worry about how they are performing. And all the battery packs are connected to the cloud. You can track them. You can see where they are, what the parameters are.
Nice.
So it's that ecosystem that has been extremely helpful in enabling us to access the world as a market for our products.
Nice, nice, nice. Good that you, mentioned about T-Hub. Right, again, that's again a government intervention, right? I mean, you said it all started there. Government's focus on innovation, government's focus on using technology has obviously helped you in your journey.
They had people like you as well guiding them, so it's very good that they're involving entrepreneurs in the entire process. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I think that's also fantastic. I think the minister is here. Yeah. Okay, so good. At this point in time, I think maybe we have time for the last.
Please, all yours.
Thanks, Harsh. Yeah, so we'll have one final question and then maybe take a comment from Jayashree. So Sudha, so you started, okay, let me state it the other way. So governments need technology, but technology is ever changing at a very fast pace, right? And I learned that you are helping governments in various states get these technology into the government organization. So how are you doing it, and what's the genesis of it?
So there are two important trends to take cognizance of. One is the emergence of digital public goods, right? It all started with UID and Aadhaar. But since then, we have stacks enabling access to digital technology to every last citizen in health and finance, in different parts of, whether it's the open credit enablement network, taking it to shopkeepers and small traders, whether it's ONDC. The other big trend is people in their 40s feeling like they've been there, done that in the corporate world, and now want to serve state and country. So leveraging both these trends, we instituted the Indian Administrative Fellowship, It's a fellowship for CXOs. So people that have come into this fellowship are, for instance, the former CEO of Airtel Bharti's B2B business, the chief strategy officer of Patanjali, right? Large corporate CXOs who jobs and work full-time with principal secretaries in state governments for 18 months. And in these 18 months, they pick something that's strategically important to the state government and move them using technology. You were speaking about using alternate data for credit access. One of the things the fellow in Karnataka has been able to do is ensure that women members of self-help groups can access loans even in the absence of a personal credit history or a credit rating. The state has set up a 100 crore interest subvention fund and brought in Canara Bank as the anchor bank to disburse over 600 crores of loans to women, individuals who are members of self-help groups.
Nice.
So this is modeled after your journey, Funny, what you were able to do with the government of Telangana.
It's actually, you know, the Sutradhar is actually
The
here.
Sutradhar is here. Yes.
So, KTR Garu, just now, Sudha was just saying that they launched this Indian Administrative Fellowship Program, which they've taken to different governments, different states, where they take people like me into the government. So, yeah, so Sudha is saying it's modeled after me. I'm saying actually the Sutradhar is sitting there. Yeah, he's the one who invited me to the government, and that one small thing is now like replicated. And how many states are you, have you sent fellows to, Sudha?
Yeah. So when elected representatives and visionary bureaucrats start to draw from talent in the private sector, magic happens, right? So that's the answer.
So how many states are your fellows in?
So we finished one cohort in Karnataka. So the next cohort will start in April. And we've just kicked off in Punjab. So 2 states. We'll announce the 3rd state soon, and we hope to come to Telangana with your support, sir, in the very near future.
Nice. Thank you, panelists.